Thank you. The committee will come to order. I'd like to begin this hearing by stating the Oversight Committee mission statement. We exist to secure two fundamental principles. First, Americans have the right to know that the money Washington takes from them is well spent. And second, Americans deserve an efficient, effective government that works for them. Our duty on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee is to protect these rights. Our solemn responsibility is to hold government accountable to taxpayers because taxpayers have a right to know what they get from their government. We will work tirelessly in partnership with citizen watchdogs to deliver the facts to the American people and bring genuine reform to the Federal bureaucracy. This is the mission of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Good morning, and I thank everybody in attendance here to talk about this hearing's topic, which is examining the government's record of implementing the International Religious Freedom Act. Now, unfortunately, as you look at this panel, we have some very distinguished people who have done some great work in this field, who are great experts and care passionately about this issue. At the same time, we are sincerely disappointed that the State Department decided not to make their witness available. Ambassador Cook was invited to attend. We think that this would have been a valuable part of the dialogue. On May 31st, the very end of the month, State Department confirmed verbally that the Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, again, Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook, would be available to testify at the June 13th hearing. Based on that, we sent a letter to Secretary Kerry on June 5th requesting the Ambassador's testimony at the hearing. When we confirmed that I would insist on a one-panel structure, State withdrew the Ambassador from the hearing, citing what they claim is a longstanding State policy of not permitting their witnesses to testify on the same panel as non-government witnesses. Although the U.S. Commission on Religious Freedom also raised concern about having Chairwoman Katrina Lantos Sweat on the same panel as non-government witnesses, we still requested that we have one panel. We believe it is a more effective, efficient way to conduct a hearing. It allows members of Congress to ask pertinent questions. And to suggest that we have to have two panels as opposed to one panel seems a ridiculous use of the Congress's time and efforts. And so they have made this choice. But I do want to highlight that on October 7th, 2012, the Ambassador sat on a panel, again with Chairwoman Sweat, and an Italian professor. In fact, here's a picture of the two of them sitting next to each other on the panel. And just because it's the United States Congress, they decide that they can't sit and testify and talk about issues next to each other. It is obviously the practice of the State Department to do this. In fact, Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee on Coast Guard and Maritime Transportation hearing on combating privacy on April 10th, 2013, Assistant Secretary of State for Political Military Affairs, Andrew Shapiro, testified on the same panel as Mr. Neil Smith, the head of underwriting for Lloyd's Market Association, a private concern in London. So it's obviously the practice of the State Department to allow their State Department employees to testify with private sector people on the same panel. They've done it in Congress. They've done it in private settings. But somehow before the Oversight Committee, they are electing not to make their witness available. Consequently, I don't believe that this will be as full of a hearing as it could possibly be. It will be a better discussion. This should not be contentious. But there are issues that we need to address as the United States Congress. This is terribly disappointing. It's a waste of the Congress's time. And when we know that she was available to attend, to not make that witness here available today is just inexcusable. With that, I will yield to the ranking member, Mr.